Good evening, dandies. Welcome to Undetermined, the podcast.
Black dirt evermore. Black dirt I will follow. In the slough is hidden gold.
All right, here we are. Most of us, anyway. We're
Most
having
of us.
a little bit of a gremlins night. So, welcome, Munly. We're happy to
Thank
have
you.
you on
Thanks.
here.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
We've still got Slim coming. You want to introduce yourself? You want us to try and? I'm a little intimidated trying to. You've got between the two of you so many projects and titles, and I'm almost afraid I'm going to screw it up. But I try to.
Yeah, I'm Munly J. Munly, and I play in Slim Cessna's Auto Club and Munly and the Lupercalians and DBUK, and also have a few new books out, and I had 2 more turned in, and hopefully those will be out this year.
Huh, right on. I didn't catch your resume as a writer. What do you write?
Oh, well, I write most of the, as far as the books, it's fiction. Although I am
Cool.
Yeah, I'm doing my first nonfiction, quasi nonfiction. It'll be, I've just started that. So.
Huh. History project or something, or are you keeping it under wraps?
Yeah, I don't really want to speak about it until I'm closer.
Right, I get that.
Thank you for being cognizant of asking that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of times it just doesn't come together, and so you need to push on to something else. And there's always some super fan of me who says, "I heard on some interview that you."
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not how writing goes. Yeah, I always get kind of weirded out asking that question at all. Like, what are you working on now with a lot of guests? Because, well, I mean, geez, we've seen in the last couple of years of the pandemic and everything else, so many things can go south.
Right.
Somebody might be going through something where they're not working on anything at all. So that's why we just kind of keep it loose and undetermined, hence the name. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Where the interview goes.
Yeah. Well, that's actually part of our ethos, though, is to always be working.
Yeah.
Part of mine. I don't want to spread that on everyone, but
Right.
as far as myself, I guess just leading by example, you always want to be working. And personally, I don't set goals for myself. I don't particularly believe in those. I don't particularly need those.
Right.
You just keep working and keep your head down, and eventually you'll finish, and hopefully it's worthwhile to somebody.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about the books you have released, though. Since they're, not at risk of being cursed.
Right.
I think or jinxed.
Right.
But-
Well, Confessions, I guess I finished during the pandemic.
Mhm.
I finished this. I have some older books that are out of print and such, but this new batch, I've just had a bit more time to work. So I finished Confessions to Scare, which is part of Liberalia, which is Munly and the Libercalians, but all 3 bands, Slim Cessna's Auto Club and DBUK, are all going to be doing albums from Liberalia.
Right on.
Cool. Yeah, we don't get a lot of fiction writers. I mean, talking to musical artists anyway. We know a poet or two.
You were just Matt was just speaking about Les Claypool. I mean, he has 1 or 2 books out that are interesting. There's actually some really good writers out there who also do music. Willie Lawton from Richmond Fontaine is a great writer.
Wow.
Steve Earle actually has a nice fiction book out. There's some other that are not so good. Morrissey put out a fiction book that was That's
Wasting
not
my
right.
time.
You know, until I'm perfect, I will stop talking about what Morrissey wrote.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to throw any other artist on the bus, but you know.
I actually really like Morrissey's music.
Oh yeah, I do too. I do too.
So-
We're all having a big issue, I think, these days, separating the art from the artist.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why when I started to say his name, I was like, I don't know if I want to say his name.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Oh, that makes
I
sense.
understand where you're going. I see Slim's actually trying to get in here.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're,
cool.
We're about to have a full cast, and I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll do a re-intro. There's Slim.
Hey, sorry
Hello.
I'm late.
Oh, you're
no
good.
worries.
You're good. We were just getting underway.
Glad to
good.
have you.
Yeah.
So I'm Matt.
I'm John.
This John.
I'm
This other
Matt.
guy's
John.
Munly. I don't know if you guys are familiar with each other.
Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
Munly.
Hey, Slim. How did everything go today?
Oh, it was a hard day, but I'm
Yeah.
here. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, give him my best.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I had to race through the mountains to get home.
Oh, gee, yeah. I was wondering about that.
Well,
Is
we
your-
appreciate you joining us.
Oh, absolutely.
Glad to
Absolutely.
finally
okay.
meet you.
Yeah, you too. And I'm sorry I've been so difficult, but my situation is
No, I mean, schedules and
different.
conflicts, and it happens for sure. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. So you don't live in Denver proper, or where do you live in Colorado?
No, I live in Fairplay, Colorado.
Okay.
About well, it's a couple hours southwest of Denver, up in the hills. I live outside of Fairplay, about 15 minutes out of that town.
Mm.
Yeah.
How were the roads up that way?
They were actually they're okay. It was icy in spots on my way home because it was over one of the passes. It had been snowing a little bit today. Not a lot, not like piling up, but enough to make the roads a little more difficult than I was expecting.
Beautiful country, though, man.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I love coming visiting when I can. We're both in Missouri, so Matt's out in Kansas City. He's a little closer than I am. I'm in Columbia, so right in the middle of the state. But yeah, we get out there for vacations a lot. I've never seen it in the winter.
Munly and I were in Columbia last September at the
right on.
the Comfort Inn and Suites.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. I had and
I
I
wasn't
ordered
telling anybody about that, Slim.
Oh, yeah, it was just us two. It was really weird.
Did you have a show here, or?
No, we were just on our way back from Tennessee at a music festival. Yeah, Muddy Roots.
Oh, right on. Yeah, we get a reputation for being a midway point.
Yeah.
Halfway across the state, halfway between a lot of places. So it's a good place to play, though. You should come by.
Yeah, I've heard that. We need to do that.
Yeah, it's a cool town. It's a college town.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bluegrass around here. A lot of country and punk as well. And but yeah, so that's one thing I found really interesting too, was just and listening to music. I mean, I really dug everything I've heard so far, by the way, of everything you guys done. But I keep writing about, and I was trying to track down this the terminology of the Denver sound that keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that nomenclature?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to speak for everybody in the band, but I think it's kind of cool that that there's a thing that I don't know. I think it just froze up, huh?
No.
I think it is. Places do have their own kind of dialect almost in music, where it's you can tell somebody's from somewhere sometimes. We got a buddy who lives in San Francisco that will produce a lot of stuff, and he'll do he'll run sound at like this one club in San Francisco, and he kind of knows what to expect from an artist just based on where they're from and how to set up sound for them, and how it's going to go. He has a pretty good idea. I always thought that was interesting.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Midwest player, you know. But yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, I don't think, to me anyway, that term, I mean, your sound isn't like contrived, you know, it isn't something that's in a lot of cases, I think with bluegrass and country and you know, mixing that with modern music, I think sometimes people kind of fall into a trap of trying to make something sound like something. But I don't see you guys doing that at all. You know, I thought it's unique, definitely. But I mean, what would you say are the big roots of your music?
I don't want to cut off. If I'm back now. I actually disappeared for a while because everything froze up, and I think I was starting to talk probably way too much, as I usually can in these situations. But I'm back now, in case anyone's wondering why all of a sudden I stopped talking.
Right. Munly, did you hear the question?
No, I just heard Slim explaining why he disappeared.
Yeah.
I think let's go over that again.
All right.
Yeah,
Long question.
I know, I'm so needy.
No.
No, it's just that I was saying that, you know, the sound anyway, I think when you get into a lot of genre-based music like country and bluegrass, and you're mixing that with modern music, sometimes some bands, it sounds contrived, like they're trying to make something sound like something. But I don't see you guys doing that at all. I think this sounds unique, but I mean, and not talking about influences, what do you think the roots are of your music?
For me, it's storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of avoiding your question, really.
No, not really.
No, I think that's an honest answer.
Yeah. Just a story is where it lays for me. That's always been important, you know, though I do listen to some music I used to listen to some music when I liked music that didn't have words, but that's where it's important to me. You know, as far as the country bluegrass element, I've always considered us a rock band in anything we do, even in DBUK, which is really quiet. It just so happens that I'm not going to speak for everyone, but it just so happens that I play more traditional instruments,
right,
and it comes out a certain way.
Yeah, and that's actually one of my usual go-tos, is just saying, yeah, it's rock and roll. You know, especially when you get into that. I don't know why that is. That it's a lot of people don't like that. You know, well, I mean, nobody likes to be pigeonholed, I suppose.
That's what I always say too. I just say, yeah, we just play rock music, because otherwise you have to start explaining like all these different genres and
right,
which I don't really, and then it just sounds silly. And so, but we rock out harder than everybody anyway, so it just makes sense that that's what we would say.
Yeah.
And Munly's storytelling is right on as well. It's like, you know, it's American music. It's like we tell stories, and that's the history of how our music started, is storytelling, and we rock out when we do it.
Yeah. No, I love the storytelling, and then I do think that's probably why a lot of good songwriters make good book writers too. We were kind of talking to Munly about that before you hopped on.
Oh yeah, good.
And I think that's awesome. I also I like it when I don't know how to categorize a band or an artist. And like I listening to you guys, you know, and I think it's a human thing to do. Like when you hear something new, you try to compare it in your brain to something else,
Yeah.
right? Where would I put this if I were telling somebody, well, this sounds like a cross between this, and I had a lot of trouble doing that, checking you guys out, and I really appreciate it when I have trouble doing
Yeah.
that, if that makes sense.
That's actually really flattering to me. You know, it's not probably the best business model while we're living and trying to make a living and survive and take care of our families, but hopefully we'll leave a legacy. And in 20 years, when there's another interview going on and someone doesn't know what to compare their music to, hopefully they'll compare it to us.
Yeah, right on. There you go. Yeah, never thought about that.
Yeah,
way.
good one, Munly.
Yeah.
Thanks. I wrote that down before. I was thinking about that.
No, it's true
You know,
though.
actually, I'm sorry. Back to, we were speaking about Morrissey before in his book,
Oh yeah, yeah. Mhm.
but just to end on a positive note, another great book by a musician is Joe Henry. Recently came out with a book, and it's stunning. So I highly recommend that. I don't recommend books very often, but it's well worth the read.
Right on. Yeah, we'll look into that. I always like it when, you know, and what a musician doesn't always do, like a biography, you know, and they venture into other areas, like you're talking about fiction, or, you know, we've got, well, a friend, Mark Hennessy from okay, he's back. But Mark Hennessy from, I don't know if you remember Paw from the 90s, that band. It's got a new band, Godzillionaire. They're really great. But he's a poet. Yeah, he's got some great poetry that he's written. But yeah, I always like to see people venture out into that. In other areas, graphic art, anything else like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as far as how the band runs, that's how we run, as we all sort of pull our weight as best we can and use our strengths. Slim is obviously
In and
very
out.
strong in technical. He's in charge of all of our recording and videoing. So Slim, all we can see right now is your name.
Is your name?
I'm the one with the best internet over here.
We hear you. We hear you.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, that's good.
As far as that, I for myself, I do a lot of the words. You know, Dwight does a lot of the recording. It's just people use their strengths.
Yeah.
Slim has we found Slim to be really good at organizing and doing some more, a lot of stuff that people don't want to do. And so
I do the taxes.
yeah, no, but he's buckled down, and it needs to be done, and he does it, and that's how it runs. And so you use your strengths, and I think that's why part of the reason we've been able to keep going for so long.
Yeah.
I think
really
that's
is.
just kind of universally true, though. I think a lot of, you know, you look in sports or business or whatever, the places or the entities that tend to really go the farthest are the ones that somebody at least is able to recognize, this is what this person does well, this is what this person does well, I'm gonna play to their strengths.
Right. And that's you know, that's another reason why I you know, even kind of dislike that question about genre. Is because whenever, you know, I try to play music, or whenever I was in bands years ago, I was always just trying to do the best I could do. And I'm not great at some things, you know, so that's how it came out. I mean, you know, and if it sounds like something else, I guess that's why, you know, just really the best that I could put down.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the storytelling, a lot of religious elements too. I grew up with a Pentecostal minister as a father, so that's part of my problem. But do you guys have a strong religious upbringing or anything else like that to run those themes?
I do. Yeah, I'm a preacher's kid also.
Oh, are you? Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but he wasn't Pentecostal. I don't think I would have the same kinds of I don't think it was as frightening as perhaps your upbringing. You know, like I understand the difference. It was pretty smooth on my end.
Yeah. Yeah. What denomination?
Well, I mean, technically, I guess it would be he was Baptist, but but it was pretty non-denominational at the same time. It was a church in Boulder, and so it was pretty liberal, I suppose. You know, if that makes sense, or if that's possible.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. I mean, I say Pentecostal, but he was really kind of Pentecostal based. Grew up in Southern Illinois and right by the Kentucky, you know, right by Paducah and in that area. So it's really just more self-taught ministry and stuff. And he was a good guy, but there were definitely weird things about it. Because you know, speaking in tongues and
right.
You know, the thrashing in the aisles and things like that definitely went down. But he wasn't a fire and brimstone guy,
right,
by any means. Actually, yeah, heard some of my first electric guitar in church when I was a kid. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I do love church music. Gospel music is. Speaking of genres, that's still something that I get a kick out of.
You can feel that influence for sure.
And I agree. I like it too. I rebelled against that for a long time. You know, just fighting that because of the upbringing and everything. It was lame. But yeah, a lot of those standards and stuff, they were great. You know, I'll Fly Away is a great song. Yeah, so many of those. Yeah, it really is. But yeah, you know, but I'm starting to realize that, you know, as I get older, just to you know, fight some of those feelings of resentment out of it and just look at it for what it is. Look at the art for what it is.
Yeah.
Cool. So what do you guys been working on lately? Even though I just said I hate asking that question.
I think Munly would be best at answering that question, but because it's part of the whole Lupercalian experience.
Maybe the best thing is just to explain exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Because it took me some digging to kind of understand. So, but how would you explain the Lupercalian?
Well, I guess that's part of the issue. Is I don't know if I would explain it. I would ask people to listen to the music and read the stories. You know, that's not fair, obviously. But I would hope people would find it interesting enough, you know, what we've done in the past to realize that we're going to continue to push ourselves. And also we need to find it interesting in order to give our best shows and to record our best music. We need to keep ourselves motivated and interested. So basically, with that being said, Lupercalia is just a world I've been working on for forever. It's actually been in my head for a long time, and a lot of the characters have been sung about on older albums, and now they're all coming together, and people are seeing where they're from and their connections. And the first album was done by the Lupercalians. And each of us are taking a legion from the land. So the Auto Club's album will be coming out this year sometime. And that'll be the second installment, and then the third installment will be done by DBUK.
Just spreading it around. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be 3 different bands playing same songs from the not playing the same songs, but playing with some of the same characters from the same area.
Right. Coming from the same place.
Correct.
Got it. That's cool. I like
Yeah,
that.
it is cool. Yeah. Yeah. Really conceptually neat. I love those ideas.
Yeah.
Things like that. I
And
mean,
so
I'm not
that-
above
the-
like a Hey Baby pop song, you know, but
No.
yeah, I definitely love having a deeper concept or something like that running through my music.
Yeah, and it's a lot to ask of people to read the books and
Mm.
listen to all that stuff. So when you mentioned pop music, I
Mhm.
hope it can convey on that level as well. If people don't want to invest as much as I want them, or hope they would, then they don't need to. I would hope that the songs I hope you can just tap your foot to them. And if that's all you want to do, and if that has you leaving the show satisfied, then great. You know, if people want to experience it in their own ways,
Right on.
you know,
Yeah.
because that is too much to ask when artists won't explain anything, because
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything negative, but so I'm hoping the writing is good enough that if it's just a pop song and then somebody wants to bop their head along, or if there's a person next to them who's listening to every word and listening to every note that Dwight's playing, then, you know, they can both come away and be happy with what they've experienced.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw somebody the other day was talking about writing a good song. Like, does it have to be exclusive? Like, either this is what it was. Can good lyrics save bad music, and vice versa? And I thought that was a really interesting question.
That's a fascinating question, and honestly, I hope we never have to face it. I would hope we never are satisfied if we have one or the other. I would hope we would keep pushing ourselves until we get both of them coming together.
You're talking about, 20 years in the future, or 15 years in the future. Now, is it Slim? You got a son in the band, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a family band.
Yeah. How's
Right
that
on.
experience?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish he would finish recording his parts for the record we're working on now.
Yeah. Is it hard to separate that dad versus bandmate part, do you think?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
But no, it's really cool to have him, and he's really good. Like, he plays bass with us, and he sings background vocals, and he's in my opinion, I don't know, I think Munly would agree that it's excellent fit for the band musically. But he does his own thing, and so I don't think any of us will be surprised when he just has to concentrate more on that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
He has amazing records of his own.
Oh yeah.
And he's really just easy, and he understands the music.
Yeah.
And instead of, obviously we've had so many members, as a lot of older bands do, just pass in and out, and people leave for various reasons, but essentially if you fit, then you'll stay forever. George, I think, is an exception because he's younger and he does have his own music. So actually I agree with Slim. I think he'll eventually move on and push for himself a little more, but it gets it's difficult sometimes when you're constantly having to be on the lookout or wondering who's leaving and
Yeah.
what qualities does this person bring, and then going back, bringing that conversation back around, then you have to work for a couple of years and realize this new person's strengths and what are they going to bring to the band, and how do we get the best out of them, and not only for themselves but for us as a business. And that doesn't sound that great now that I'm hearing it out loud, but
No, I think it sounds. I agree with it completely. I think we should kind of pay attention to what people are good at. There's nothing wrong with that.
right.
And
Well,
for
and
recognizing it and encouraging it.
I think that's part of our responsibility, as Slim already did for 20 odd years, bringing George up. I think it's part of our responsibility to point George in the right direction and, not sit him down and give him testing and go by that, but maybe lead by example and say, hey, we struggle and everything, but here's some stuff that works, and hopefully point him in the right direction.
Right. And yeah, I mean, I would imagine as a band, you all have to have a certain amount of a shared vision of, where you're expecting at least what you're working on right now, where it's going to go, and what you're going to commit to and things like that. But
Interesting enough, we actually, I don't know how the bands work. I don't know how they operate.
yeah,
They don't speak to me. I barely speak to the people in our own band, which is probably frustrating. But I don't know if we really need to. We've never had that conversation, and I don't think it's necessary. You just, as we were saying before, you put your head down and you work.
yeah,
You don't. Goals are for pop bands or bands who want to know how many ticks they have. And I don't know the terminology for Facebook and YouTube's, but I'll call them ticks.
right.
Tick sounds good to me.
Yeah. So we don't count those. You just work, and hopefully when you're done, somebody will mention your name in 20 years in an interview.
Yeah. Right on. Well,
I think for it's important, like Munly and Dwight and I have been doing this together for I like decades now, and we've just kind of figured out how to do it without really talking about what we're doing. Of course, we have to talk about certain things, like we're recording this album now, and or we're going to play this show, and we have tours coming up, but we don't go into details about what. I don't know, similar to what Munly was just saying, but it's also, but we've had people that didn't quite fit, and so but now it's important to say, and we all recognize how so it's Munly and Dwight and I, and now Rebecca and Andrew and my son George, everybody is in it in such a good way right now, and it's really and it's been that way for a few years now, and from before COVID, from years before that, and it's just nice that we don't have to have those weird conversations with people, and we don't have to send out an email saying this is what we expect, and because we have had to do things like that, and we've had to we've had to lose people because they didn't understand us. And it's important that they understand and specifically it's kind of important, I think, that people understand Munly, Dwight, and myself, because we've been doing this so long together. And it's just really nice that we don't have to worry about that right now, and we don't have to have conversations. I mean, we've had to have other conversations because I'm in a situation where I've had to change some things up, and but that is different than as far as how we, well, whatever. I think I'm already talking too much.
No, not at all.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of an unspoken, you know, it's more of
Yeah.
a family than a friendship or a band. It's like, it is like, it's truthful, I think, to say that these people are my brothers, and Rebecca is my sister, and we are sometimes functional family.
Mhm.
There's a
So it's
value
kinda
to
cool.
not always having
Yeah.
to explain yourself, and to be able to just trust, you know what, they're going to get it, right? Or they're
Mhm.
going to come pretty close to getting it, or even if they don't, they're going to appreciate that I am saying something, you know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
And
it
you
frees
got,
things up.
yeah, you got that to hang on to. That's good. I mean, just like, well, like you mentioned, a family. I don't have to have a meeting with mine every day. Okay, guys, where do we see ourselves in 3 years? Yeah.
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 Laughed out of the room. Have you been able to get back to doing some gigging stuff lately, or
Uh,
playing any shows?
we just played New Year's, which we do every year in Denver. I think we've only missed 1 year, and that was the 2021.
Mm.
Yeah, that was like the first one we missed in 30 years or something ridiculous
Oof.
like that. So,
Wow.
but I've had to kind of cut touring down a little bit. I've had to cancel some things because of I'm up here helping to care for my parents,
Mm.
who are elderly, and my father broke his back a while ago, and so there's just issues. But everybody is being extremely patient with me, and I appreciate that. But we are planning some shows coming up, and we're going to Europe in June, and I'm already working on how that's going to work out with my situation here, but that it's going to work and everything's going to be fine with that. So,
Good.
yeah.
Good.
And we're just excited I am at least, to get back out and do something like that. But we've had a few, like we went to Tennessee for a festival, but really it's been pretty slow since the pandemic, and then with my situation adding on to that. But and when I say my situation, it's not a bad situation. I'm actually in a good place, but just asking everybody to be patient with me, including, you know, people who want to see us perform, and who are used to us touring relentlessly for decades. You know, we haven't quite gotten back to that place, but someday we will, probably. Anyway, there's me talking.
No, I mean,
a lot again.
yeah. Where did you play? Do you play the same venue on New Year's every year too, or is it that much of a tradition, or just doing a New Year's show?
The last few years, we've played a venue called the High Dive in Denver, and before that, we've been at various venues. There's a theater, the Bluebird Theater, that we played like 10 years straight, I think.
Okay.
But now we are at but things changed, and our city changed, and I think we do better in other cities than we do in Denver nowadays, which is fine.
Wow.
No,
That is interesting.
we're ready to go back to Europe, because I think we do better there than we do over in the States in general.
When was the last time you were there?
I don't know. There's so many years that have just gone past, just even lately. Like, I don't know, we missed a few years there, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. I think we were in Europe as DBUK, like in 2019, I think. That makes sense. Yeah. And then I think Auto Club was there in 2018, our last time. But normally we were there once a year, you know, sometimes twice a year. So maybe we can get back to that place.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they'd appreciate any particular country that you get a bigger following in, or fans that are More glad to see
Russia.
you,
Russia.
brother.
Yeah, I know that sounds funny, but that's probably
Wow.
the best. Two of our best cities are Moscow and St.
Moscow.
Petersburg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
the Lupercalians actually just went, and unfortunately Slim wasn't able to go, and that was really odd. Really odd.
it was very strange. Wasn't it?
Yeah, but obviously we weren't able to go to Russia or St. Petersburg. We had to cut that bit off the tour. But Slim's right. Just circling back to as far as our Denver venues and such,
Mhm.
and I think that happens with bands as you age. You either keep going and play where you can and put on the best show every time, or you quit, or you I don't even want to say quit. You give up is what it seems like, and that's for those bands again who have goals and need to reach their
Yeah.
goals, and that's fine for people. Some people. It's just not us.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be just a crutch too. And the fact that if you set those goals and if they're so arbitrary and one doesn't make it, or, feeling like you failed somehow, and it's like, really, what does that even mean?
Yeah,
Right.
And you have to be level-headed to have that, because there's certainly there are people out there who would say, well, so you're too scared to have goals, you don't think you'll make them. And I can understand that argument from people who have goals, but
Right.
from people who are willing to work and know that they work and know they're disciplined enough that I sit down every day and put in my few hours, and I rely on that and myself, and I know by the end of it, if it comes out, the work will be, if it's good enough for me, then, well, I don't know if it's ever good enough for me. That's starting a whole other conversation. So.
Right.
No, I kind of like that old kind of Taoist way of thinking, in a way. Like, you put in the effort, but that doesn't mean you know where you're going exactly. But getting there is the most interesting part, if that makes.
We've had to do that. Our cities passed us by. They won't. There was a time where the main paper here westward said they wouldn't do any more articles about us because it's not fair that we're always in there. And they were good to their word for
Wow.
15 years now. They've never spoken to us again.
Wow.
But there's always music's such an easy platform now for anyone to achieve. You can record anywhere, and so it's such an open market now. And there's a lot of, it's not the word I want to use, but competition.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be competitive, but unfortunately it is. Everything in life is, and there's that reality.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But we hope we've been going long enough, and but really, it's not so much that we're not entitled to anything. We want our new stuff to be good and challenging. Again, not only for ourselves, but new people who might stumble upon us.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you're able to shift the focus more to that, just making things that people enjoy and making things that, as you were saying about whether they enjoy it for its depth or for just its melody or whatever. If that's what you want to put out, then I mean, makes that part of the goal easy to obtain, even if it's not, I hate saying goal since you hate goal. But you know what I mean? If that's what you're trying to do, is just to make people happy, and you can do it as a family, that's great. But yeah, and no point in putting undue pressure on yourself, but there's, put pressure on yourself, but not undue.
Yeah, I guess I don't look at it as pressure because I know for myself and us, I'm disciplined enough that there's work being done constantly.
Yeah. 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 A lot of people aren't that self-aware of knowing that they're working hard, or they beat themselves up, but that's good to hear. It's definitely refreshing to hear.
Or they pick unhealthy ways to measure, I think.
Mm.
No, it's a difficult thing in all of life, really.
Yeah.
Constant measurements, and sometimes perhaps if you go to competitive schools, it's just the measuring stick. I understand why people feel like failure sometimes.
Yeah.
So they're taught that.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and we kind of live in a world where we're supposed to cover up our flaws, right?
Mm.
We don't want to look like there's anything wrong or that we're imperfect, and because and everybody's trying to compare to an artificial standard, and it fucking makes us miserable.
Mhm. Yep.
And I appreciate when people don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of it stems from, I think, capitalism too, just
Sure.
making us good little consumers. We've been steered through that our whole life, all throughout primary school and everything else. I know I have. Even talk about that in education classes. That's what we're ultimately trying to teach these kids to do, is to be, good consumers, keep the market going.
Sure.
That's really the goal.
And that's where a lot of people take their value. And I'd rather have a meaningful life than a lucrative life.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
a lot of people confuse those two.
Absolutely.
Or conflate, maybe is a better word for it.
Yeah. Really.
I've thought about all of that in the context of our music and what we have accomplished, because it certainly hasn't been a financial accomplishment, but oh my gosh, like even Dwight and I think on our last trip to Europe, because we're like on a train like to freaking St. Petersburg from Moscow, just in the middle of winter, and I think it was January, and just realizing like how fortunate we are to be able to be doing this, and how it's actually our hard work that we've been able to accomplish some of these things and go to these places and that other people would never even dream of, and people with gobs of money would never be able to dream of some of the things that we've done and accomplished, and some of the things that we've seen even, and so that's pretty cool, I think. And that's from working really hard for years.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah, decades.
Speaking of which,
So
do you remember the year you guys met, or
that the year we met?
Mhm.
I don't remember the year I met. What I think Munly and I what would you say, Munly? 95?
It was
96 maybe?
1995.
Hmm.
I was recording my first solo album.
Yeah.
And I was already signed to a label, but Frank Hauser discovered me somehow. I don't know how that worked out, but
yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, Frank will never hear this anyways.
We can send it to him.
No, Frank was always actually really sweet to me, but that's when we met. I think it was 95, and we played shows. When I started, I played solo, which was great. Eventually I broke up with myself, and then started having a band.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know and just hear my joke. I broke up with myself.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, we
Should have
heard.
laughed louder.
How did you take it?
You guys are breaking up. I'm not hearing
Oh,
anymore.
he said, how did you take it?
Yeah, still breaking up.
Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna keep pushing this joke. But that's the way we met. And then I think we started playing together about 99 officially. I was in New York finishing stuff. And I think Slim and I just spoke on the phone, and it just happened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Slim, you have the same memory?
Yeah, I remember. John Rumley and I and John Kilo, actually, we were in Rumley's garage. These are people who used to be in the auto club as well. And we were kind of rebuilding. We're trying to figure out what we were doing actually, and we knew that that Munly was supposed to be playing music with us. So we called him up. Told him to get back to Colorado.
Had to leave New York.
Yeah, and we called Dwight also. We knew Dwight had to be there, and so that was important to us.
Yeah,
and it's a damn good thing, It's like that's how. It's like I could start crying, like it's because that's. This is my family, and these are we always talk like that we'll just be old doing this together, and well, here we are. we're old doing this together. we made it. So anyway, yeah. It's pretty cool.
You guys, do you ever play around Missouri? I know you said you just stopped off of Columbia, but hit Kansas City, St. Louis at all?
We played Kansas City, St. Louis a little bit. Kansas City, we play that the record bar.
Record bar, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Steve's place.
Friends with him. Yep.
Yeah.
Lapana.
From Season of Risk.
The new record bar was great. We played the old record bar too. Yeah.
Right on. Well, I haven't caught you yet. Your shows look great though. I'm just watching that, it's like, man, I hate watching a YouTube video of a show, but you can tell, man, there's some energy.
It looks
there.
like fun. Yeah.
It looks like a fun show.
Fun.
Yeah.
Our kind of show.
Mm.
Yeah.
Lots of high energy and stuff.
It has been written, it's like, it sounds like we're full of ourselves, and I am. I can speak for myself, but like it's a really, really great. It's the greatest rock show on earth, and it's been written as that, and so I'll accept that as the truth. But it's also comes with a heavy responsibility where we have to bring it every time, and it gets harder as we age.
Yeah. I saw Dylan a few years ago, and like his big move was the shuffle. Like he just kind of shuffled himself forward and shuffled himself back, and I was like, wow. Oh
yeah, certainly don't blame the guy.
Yeah
Like I've said about seeing Chuck Berry, and he was really old, and when he did the duck walk, it was just one little pump of the foot. So it's like one step forward and one pump of the foot. It's like, there you go. You got your duck walk. For the crowd that was here at Columbia. But yeah. I mean, music still sounds great though. Man, I'm looking forward to catching one of your shows for sure. As soon as you can get out this way again. Maybe in the thaw.
Yeah, we'll get back up
After you
there.
get back from Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So what are we currently promoting, I guess?
Well, gosh, I suppose that would be the new Lupercalian record.
Mhm.
I mean, it came out last summer. And we're never very good at like promoting things on time. Or maybe we can be promoting the new Auto Club record in the future.
Absolutely.
The whole, and what you were speaking with Munly about with the trilogy with the Lupercalians and the Auto Club DBUK, because that's all what we're actively working on at the moment with, and that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. What's the best place to get for you to get your music, to get your merch, anything else like that? So we can put that out there.
Well, I guess we have all three bands. We have our own record labels. It's SCAC Unincorporated.
Okay.
And so it would be SCAC, all one word, SCAC unincorporated.com. Or you can go to Slim Cessna's autoclub.com and it goes to the same place. But we have a web store.
Okay.
All three bands that we have are there. They're all of the records that we have.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Vinyl on there?
Vinyl. Yep.
All right. Oh,
Yes.
There's another record sold.
Cool.
Now your record hogs.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, man. It's been great talking to you. It's been a lot of fun. Really interesting stuff. And hope everybody gets a chance to catch you live. Go listen to their music. Go buy their music. Please. Slim Cessna's Auto Club. Thanks for joining us, guys. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us. My
Thank you for
cats
being
are actually. My cats are telling me it's dinner time as well. I don't know if we can hear them all.
Yeah.
We're
They're all
good.
sitting right here.
Yeah, I saw one. Yeah, there he is. Couldn't see him against the black speaker. There he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good girl.
Well, yeah, we really appreciate it. If you're ever in Missouri, let us know. We'd love to come see you. Definitely
yeah.
want to pick up some merch.
Yeah. I know of a good couple local clubs here too in Columbia. If you're willing to go midway again.
Right. Yeah.
Guys.
Sounds good, guys. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You guys ready to wrap? I'm good to
All
go. All right.
All right.
It's nice meeting you.
Thanks
Nice to
for
meet
listening.
you.
Nice to meet you.
Slim, give my
Absolute
best to
pleasure.
your parents.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, take care.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
All right. Have a good night. Bye.